Hello everyone, welcome to an Adobe Illustrator variable data tutorial. This one isn't going to be especially quick because sometimes it can get a little bit involved, but I'm going to try to keep it moving and we'll try to get through it as quickly as possible. And I have some comments about this in general, but I'll save those for the end. For now, let's get into this Adobe Illustrator file. If you're starting out, this is a business card sized file. There's really nothing special about it yet. I have a bunch of text objects and there's really nothing else done. I've made sure to style them and position them exactly where they need to be. And even here I've got a placed image, and I'm going to be doing images in this one, so that does kind of make it a bit more involved, but you shall soon see. Anyway, the thing to remember most is images have to be linked. They have this X through them. They can't be embedded. Once they're embedded, you can't set them as a variable. So remember that. About the text, pretty much the only thing you need to remember is that they can't be grouped. If any of the text is grouped, you won't be able to turn it into a variable. So keep that in mind. If it seems like you can't, it's grayed out and you can't change it into a variable, that's probably why. Anyway, what we're going to do first is, since I have to put an image in here, I need to get the path to that image, and it can be kind of an ordeal to get that. If we quick look over here in Bridge, we'll see that I've got quite a few images that have to go in that spot. So what I've done, added my placeholder, it's in the same spot. I'm going to go to Window, Variables. So I've got this placeholder image selected, it's linked. I'm going to go down here to my variables and I'm going to click on Make Linked File Dynamic. Alright, so now this is a variable. We're not done yet though. We have to turn it into a data set. We have to create a data set. Right now there isn't one because that's blank. So I'm going to click this camera capture data set icon. Now I have a data set. And now what I can do is save that variable library. And I'm going to save that in this text file. It's going to make an XML file. That's the only thing that Illustrator will understand here, unfortunately, is XML. So I'm going to export that, save it, and now I need to go get that file and open it up and find the file path to that placeholder image. What I'm going to do is jump to my Finder, I believe. Let's see. There we go. So, variables, this is the file that I just generated out of Illustrator. And as you can see, it's describing where that file is. And that's what I need. That's my placeholder image. So, I don't need anything else from this file. I'm not going to really use it for anything. I just need this file path. So remember that. What I'm going to do now is go back to my Finder. So I have my folder full of images. Here they all are. I'm going to just copy this really quickly. And I'm using Text Wrangler as my text editor. You want to use something like Notepad++ or Text Wrangler. You can use Text Edit on the Mac if it's in plain text mode. Anyway, I'm going to paste in my list of names. So that's all of them. And then back in my variables, I need the first part of this so I can describe where all those images are. I'm going to copy this, go back here to my list. I need to put this in front of all these names. And so what I'm going to do is use a grep feature. What I can do, if I hit Shift 6, I'm going to get, I think that's called a caret symbol. It's a red kind of up arrow. And so in grep, that means the beginning of the line. That's all that symbol means. So I'm looking for the beginning of each line. I'm going to replace it with my path to my images folder. So I'm going to click Replace All. And you can see it put that file path in front of everything. And actually I can get rid of my placeholder because I don't really need that one to be there. So I've got 25 images. Alright, I'm going to cut this whole bunch. So I just needed this list of files. And now I'm going to go to a spreadsheet that I've pretty much made up. So this is where the magic is going to happen. You need to have a spreadsheet file. And I've already kind of set this up. The only thing that really truly matters is your column. First column has to be called data set. And every item in this data set has to be unique. It has to be a unique name. You can't have any duplicates or it will not work. So anything over here in these columns, you can see we have multiple things that are the same. These could all be the same thing. It wouldn't matter. But here they all have to be different or they won't import correctly. And up here is our top row. These are going to be the names of our variables. So, I mean, you can name them whatever you want as long as you know where they go in your design. So what I have to do first is, remember, I cut that whole bunch of images that have to go in this image column. So I'm going to paste. I'll change it to UTF-8. I'm not sure if that really matters, but might as well. And so I have my whole list of names in here. They've all got their files, file paths correctly. The only thing that's a problem is these are in alphabetical order and these are not. I have set these up in my own order. So I'm going to have to really undo that. What I can do quickly is quickly go to data sort. And I'm going to tell this thing to sort by column A, which will be my data set, the names of the heroes. So that's going to be alphabetical. Now it should be safe for me to paste this in here. Alright, so now I've got my names alphabetically. They're all corresponding to where they're supposed to go. Quickly, I'm going to go resort these back by column B, which is my numbers that I wanted them to appear in. Okay, so now I have a file, a spreadsheet of variables that is in the column format here. And what I can do, I'm going to just save this. I'm saving it as an open document spreadsheet because I'm using NeoOffice. You can use Excel or whatever else you use to make a spreadsheet. And you can also make a comma separated value file, CSV. But in this case, what we're going to do is we have to turn this into an XML file because Illustrator does not understand this file. It doesn't understand CSV or Excel. It only understands XML. So that's kind of a hurdle we have to get over. What I'm going to do is copy this. Copy right from here. And there's a website. I believe this man's name is João Farico. I hope I didn't mangle his name too badly, but he has made a pretty awesome converter that's going to convert our spreadsheet data into the type of XML that Illustrator will understand. So a lot of the work is done for us. And again, sorry if he ever sees this, I'm very sorry I mangled your name because you've saved me a lot of work. Anyway, all we have to do is paste those cells in, and immediately down at the bottom, it's going to populate with the necessary XML that we need. So remember, we didn't have to export anything or make any crazy files. We just copied these cells just as is, pasted them into the top, and this was spit out at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, go back into my text editor, which is Text Wrangler, paste it, and I'm going to save this right away as an XML file. Let's see. That's where I need to go. I'll change this to, and remember it has to be an XML extension. All right. So unfortunately, there's a couple other things we have to do. If you're not using any images, you should be fine. But unfortunately, the editor or the converter that we just used, it doesn't understand images. It only does text variables. So we have to fix that. And unfortunately, what we got to do is look at our image. If this line here has our image in it, and as we can see, it's saying it's text content, which it's not. It's actually an image. So the first variable file that we exported, remember this one we exported out of Illustrator, this is giving us the correct information that should be in there. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. Instead of text, it's calling itself a file reference. That's fine. We need that. I'm going to copy the information right from here and go back into my actual correct XML file, paste it in. Now that variable is correct. It's going to be read as an image when we import it back in. And there's only one more step that's a little bit more complex. If we look down here at my image variables, there's paragraph tags surrounding them. Now that's going to probably cause an error when Illustrator tries to import this, because there shouldn't be a paragraph tag around images. So it'll probably freak out. What we've got to do is do a find and replace. And again, I'm going to use grep on this. It depends on how many you have. If you don't have that many, you can just go and delete them. In my case, I saved a grep command, and I should state that if you're watching this on YouTube, I've actually made an extensive write-up, and you should be able to click the link under the video and get to that page, and you'll be able to see all this stuff in the codes that I made. Probably copy and paste these in, and hopefully pick up on it even better if you're not getting it from my blathering. Anyway, so I've made a grep command here that's going to replace those paragraph files or paragraph tags with nothing, essentially deleting them. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. It's done 25 replacements, which I have 25 images, so that's great. And it's got rid of them. Now this file is ready for business. It's time for us to get back into Illustrator. Okay, so back to Illustrator. And now what we're going to do is load in that XML file that we just made in my variables palette here. So let's load variables. And here it is. And we can see here in the variables palette, here's all the headings for those columns that I just made over in the spreadsheet. So there they are. For some reason, the online converter script makes a data set variable, which we don't really need. You can leave it alone or you can delete it. It doesn't really belong there, so I'll go ahead and delete it. All right, now what we've got to do is match up our variables. We have to bind the objects with the variables. So I'm going to get my image, select image with both of these selected. I can now go down to the bottom, make linked file dynamic. All right, I've got one. I've got name, I'll select name, and then it'll turn into make text dynamic. Number. I'll click on team name. And finally, publisher. All right, so we have now bound all the variables to the objects that will contain them, and it doesn't look like anything has changed, but that's because we have to go to our data set first and select one. Now you can see that it is indeed working. I can scroll through these, and this is the magic of the variable data. Now I will say one thing, if you are using Illustrator CS5 on the Mac, the image variable will not work no matter what you do. Even if you try to change the XML, or you can do whatever, it won't import correctly. And I tried for probably 2 days looking on forums and trying to adjust the output to do whatever I could to make it work, but it just kept giving me some kind of a filter error. And it seems the general idea is that this is a bug that will never be fixed. And as you can see right now, I'm working in Illustrator CC, so I had to actually download the demo on this, the tryouts, and I was able to confirm it did work on CS6. I saw other people online saying it works in CS3 and 4. But CS5, if you need images in your variables, you might be out of luck. The text works fine. So if you don't need it, go ahead and, keep on with CS5. Just letting you know about that. Anyway, so as we can tell, these do indeed work. Everything's working as it should. Now, at this point, what you're probably going to want to do is save these out as separate files. So you could either do it one at a time, but that would take a long time. What we're going to do is create an action. Let me go to my actions palette. We're going to create a new action, and we're going to save as an EPS, because that's what I need here. New action. Let's name it. Save as EPS, and as soon as I hit record, it's going to start recording everything that I do, which is fine. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it into this EPS folder as an EPS. So, okay. All right, now I'll click Stop, because that's all we need from that action. So now that we have that, it would still take a lot of time to go through each data set and then perform the action. So what we're going to do is run a batch using that action. So here we can see the batch window. Save as EPS is already in there because that was selected when I chose batch. Source, I need to change from folder to datasets. So now that's going to run through every dataset I have and run that action. Destination, I'm going to choose, I think that's the right folder already, so I'll choose that. I don't think I can do anything about this. I always choose file and dataset name, so it will append the name of the dataset to the end of the file. And you could choose either one of these, depends on which one matters to you. But aside from that, once I hit OK, it's going to run through everything, and it's going to save separate EPSs of each one. Now, depending on the speed of your computer and the number of data sets, it could take a while, but it's still going to be a shorter amount of time than if you were doing it all by hand. And besides, you can take a minute to sit back and watch each one as it goes by and just see if there's anything you need to fix as it does it. But usually what I do is once these separate files are made, I might even just go into Bridge and just run through real quick and make sure nothing's out of order. One thing I should mention is if you were to make any changes to the variable file, to the variable template, then obviously, like if I move the names up or down, it's going to do that for every one. So if you need to make one single change, you have to wait until you export everything out as an EPS or as AI or whatever, and then fix that one. All right, so now it's done. And what we can see, I should go to the Finder here. All right, here's my EPS folder. It's made every last one of those. And what I'm going to do is go into Bridge. Here's my images. Let me click up on my EPS folder. So there they are, looking fairly decent. Seems like there's a white sliver or something on those. Not a big deal because I really don't need these to go out, but that's why you look at them in Bridge afterwards. So one thing you can probably tell is that the files do not have the file extension on them. There's no .eps at the end of these, which is going to be a problem for me because when I work on stuff, it goes to an Onyx RIP, and the Onyx RIP will not even see the file if it doesn't have the extension. So what you can do is click on a few or all of them, go to batch rename, and you can set the new extension to EPS, and you can see down here it's going to add EPS to each one of these. That's a fairly quick solution. Another thing I do is I have made a Apple script that will add the extension to the end. And I actually made quite a few of them here. What I'm going to do is drag this on top of the EPS one. It's actually even a quicker solution than using Bridge. As you can see, it went and added EPS to each one, and now we can see that it's indeed on there, which is interesting because now it looks like that white sliver is gone. Whatever. So I wonder why that is. It is a mystery. The point is, we're done. We've got these EPS files. We've got separate files and everything. You can clearly see that the variable data is going to save you quite a bit of work. So hopefully this allowed you to figure out how to do this. I know I might have went a little bit fast in a couple places. Again, I do have this on my site, so if you can click the link at the bottom of this YouTube video, if you're watching it on YouTube, then go ahead and click that and get over to my site, and I have it written up. It should be fairly detailed. Even the grep search and replace stuff should be in there. So not only that, but I will actually make those scripts available, the Apple scripts that I made. I don't really know how to do that on Windows, so I'm sorry for that. Hopefully if someone knows some kind of an Automator replacement. I mean, I just use the Mac app called Automator that comes with all Macs, and I made those Apple scripts. So it's fairly simple to do. Hopefully there's a Windows equivalent to that, or you can just use Bridge. Bridge works just fine. Now what I will say, since we're at the end of this, just my blathering now, but if you've been looking for this and searching on this, you probably didn't find that much information. I didn't find that much myself. I did link to the articles that I found in my write-up on my site. And the official Adobe page doesn't help very much. It does kind of go through it and tell you what you can do. I didn't use any graph data or visibility data in this one. I only used text and image, but this should probably get you through. The only thing is, if you were looking for information, you probably saw many people saying, why don't you use InDesign Data Merge? Or if you have access to InDesign, use Data Merge. Well, I mean, not everybody has access to InDesign. However, it is a superior feature. InDesign's Data Merge is superior to Illustrator's variable data in many ways. The number one being that you can import a CSV. So you don't have to go through the XML crap that we had to go through to get this into a presentable state to import into Illustrator. Another thing is that you can put multiple records up on a page. Like if I had to have 5 or 6 of these comic cards up on a page, I could do that in InDesign fairly easily, whereas I can't really do that here in Illustrator. I tried doing it a couple times and I got filter errors. Either way, I'd have to spend a bunch of time setting up my CSV in a certain way, setting up my XML file in a certain way. And this variable data is supposed to save you time, not cost you time. So pretty soon the cost-benefit ratio gets kind of thrown off. And another thing, there's just so much more information out there on InDesign's Data Merge. Illustrator, sometimes it's tough to come by decent tutorials. And so you end up struggling or going to the Adobe help pages, and they're not really that good, unfortunately. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that matter. I hope this helped you out somewhat. If not, please leave me a comment. I think the best thing to do is go to my site, leave a comment there. I definitely get those comments, or use my contact form. These YouTube comments, sometimes I don't get notified, but I'll try to check back once in a while and make sure that if anybody leaves a comment, I'll get back to them. Or if you have any other tips or tricks, please, by all means, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know about it. I hope that you're able to use this Illustrator variable data feature to make your work life a little bit easier. So aside from that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care and see you next time.